webinar, and I can ask them of our special guest this evening. And so just to make sure that that's working, and so you can say good evening, type in your location if you like, just the town you're coming from or where you're logged into us from. Excellent. It's always really quite helpful to sit here and know that I'm not talking completely to myself. So if you're in Auckland, just say, hey, I'm underwater, that's fine. I understand you guys have had, you know, a Wellington summer today, really. Hope you all stayed safe and dry. We've got somebody registered and listening to us from Pakistan this evening. One from Tauranga, Auckland, Manukau, Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, Hamilton, Woodville, from right down the road here in Petone. Fantastic. Christchurch, Mount Roskill, Mangere, New Plymouth, Nelson, Christchurch, Perth. Always good to have some of our international guests joining us and seeing what's going on in the New Zealand property market. One from Queenstown there, the mighty Lower Hutt, the mighty Upper Hutt. One Tree Hill. Excellent. Awesome. Well, it's great to have everybody online tonight. We had 675 registrations for this webinar. A couple of hundred people online already, with more people sort of piling in as we go along. Welcome everybody to the webinar. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Steve Goodey. I'm the strikingly handsome gentleman on the left-hand side of your screen there, and I'll be your host for this evening, which basically means that we do sort of interview-style Q&A session with our guests, and what I basically do is I ask all the really stupidly obvious questions that everybody's going to ask of our guests and get them talking a little bit, and if a question pops up in your mind, you type it into this question and answer portion of the webinar software, and if 2 or 3 people ask the same question, or if the question's juicy and really interesting, you know, of interest to enough people, I'll ask our guest that question for you. And so essentially, by the time we get 10 minutes into this webinar, all the questions are going to be coming from you guys. So I'm really interested to see what your thoughts are on this evening's webinar and the questions we ask. Our guest this evening is Mr. Don Ha from Don Ha Real Estate. Now, Don seems to be an incredibly polarising character in New Zealand real estate. There seems to be 2 trains of thought. People that know Don and think that he's a complete legend and are in awe of what he's managed to achieve in the last few years, in the last couple of decades, and people that absolutely haven't heard of him whatsoever. It's really, really quite interesting. The number of people I've spoken to this week and said, hey, I'm actually getting to interview a New Zealand rich listed Don Ha, who's an amazing real estate guru, and some people have just said, never heard of him, what's he like? And everybody else has basically said, oh wow, you know, that's really grouse, I love it, let's go, you know, that's going to be really interesting. So it's really blown me away. I thought everybody knew who Don Ha was. Based in Auckland, really dominated the South Auckland property market as a real estate salesperson for the last, oh God, 20, 30 years, and has risen to incredible heights, and then had a really interesting trip in the last few years. And by all accounts, from everybody I've spoken to, seems though he's absolutely on fire right now with some really incredible things coming up and moving along. And interestingly enough, from what I've noticed personally from observing the way that Don operates, he's no longer simply just in the South Auckland market, and I've seen him pop up and all over New Zealand and start to do a lot more really interesting and wild stuff that's sort of really out there. So I'm looking forward to sort of hearing what he's got to say about that. Additionally, we've been able to steal Don Ha for a few hours for our Property Masters 2.0 event coming up in both Auckland and Wellington very shortly, and I'm really quite stoked about that as well. And I'm keen to find out from Don this evening what sort of content he wants to deliver at that event, and find out sort of, you know, is he going to tell his full story from start to finish, you know, the rags, the riches, the rags, the riches, the rags, the riches story, which I'm really looking forward to. So here's our guest presenter this evening, who's going to be sitting here and having a chat away with me. Firstly, though, I'd like to explain just quickly for the nearly 200 people that are on this webinar tonight who aren't on our database, and so people that have maybe come to us from a friend's referral or turned up and seen our Facebook fan page ads and marketing and are brand new and fresh to us, who the heck are property tutors, right? So property tutors is a small but powerful group of property coaches and trainers and mentors based out of Auckland and Wellington. We're not real estate agents. What we do is we teach our clients how to buy, hold and own and prosper and create wealth for themselves out of the property market. We've been doing this in the flat times. We've been doing it right through a really decent boom and then back into the flat times. And now we're into our second sort of boom time, I think, in New Zealand property and New Zealand real estate. And so we're fairly experienced. We're doing this for a lot of years now. And I think we're at the top of our game, and I think that we're the best people in the marketplace doing this currently. We coach an awful lot of property investors, and I hesitate to say that we're possibly the people that have made the most millionaires in New Zealand outside of Lotto. We are very, very good at what we do. This is our office in Auckland. Little arrow pop up just then. Yeah, it did look, little red arrow on the right hand side there. Excellent. Never know whether the animations are going to work on these webinars or not properly. Always a tech challenge to be had. This is our office in central Auckland. I'm actually sitting in our Wellington office currently. Mr. Don Ha is coming to us from his Auckland office in Manukau City as well. And what I suppose the only thing I really want to explain about property tutors is that we're actually totally independent. We won't recommend any one property to anybody over any other property, apart from if we think it's going to make our clients money. The only contamination or cross, I suppose, if you like, with Don Ha Real Estate is that being that a lot of our clients work in the South Auckland property market, we work with a lot of Don Ha's agents, and we buy a lot of property off them, and we sell a lot of property through them as well. That's really the only crossover. We've got, I think, a mutual respect for each other from being very large in the marketplace, and apart from that, you know, I'm just personally stoked to have somebody like Don on the webinar with us this evening. And so, you know, without further ado, I'll introduce our guest and unmute him so we can talk to you. Mr. Don Ha, how are you?
Good, and yeah, good evening, Steve. How are you?
I'm very well. Yeah, great. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm stoked that you could take some time to talk to our couple of hundred attendees online. Did you stay dry today, or was it really as wet as the papers and the media says up there?
Yeah, it is very wet down here, right in Port Chester, out in Takanini. It was even flooding. Cleveland is flooding. The Huna Fall is just like the Niagara Fall right now. It's just a quite amazing weather change over 24 hours.
Very crazy. Well, I hope everybody's managing. Yeah, so we stole a staff member off you a few years ago, didn't we? Our CEO, Phil Thompson, was one of your top real estate agents. Was that right?
Yes, yeah, that's an amazing journey, really. We have created many successful heroes, and they move on to be greater than what they were, and the training is always from the ground floor. So it's great to see that Phil is now running the property tutors in Auckland, and we're looking forward to the event coming up in March.
Yeah, me too. No, fabulous. And you know, Phil's told me, you know, not too much about your story or your boom to bust, or, you know, I mean, I've Googled you and I know a little bit about where you've come from, so to speak. But you know, I don't know if anybody else here has sort of heard that. I know that you really want to hold back and sort of tell most of that story at the event, sort of. And I love the whole throwing it out there, warts and all stuff. But for somebody who's inquisitive or never heard of Don Ha, how would you explain who you are in the scale of Auckland real estate?
Well, firstly, I came here as a refugee in 1980 at the age of 12, living in South Auckland, and then worked for the family bakery. You can see there's a bakery cafe right now in front of my office. That's one of our current cafe also. And then I didn't like working in the bakery because 72 hours of work in the bakery is a lot of work. And then I wanted to earn unlimited incomes, and that's the only way I can be rich. And I decided to become a real estate agent in 1994. And But in the first year, what I want to experience, to share determination and want to be rich and want to be number one, I sold 86 properties in that 12 months period. With 86 property at the time comes only $10.8 million. And I work it out today, if 86 of those same property will come somewhere close to $50 million. So that keeps you, that the question is like, do I make money from property? Well, you can only compare 86 then to 10.8 and 86 now to almost 50 million over the past 25 years. So that gives you the answer to itself.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so I was going to bang through this. So how much real estate do you think Don Ha Real Estate Agency has sold in Auckland, and in any time period? Then how big are you as compared to other agencies, so to speak?
Well, firstly, myself, I personally sold over $1 billion of property now in my career. In the recent 15 months, Don Ha Real Estate would have sold over 700 million. That gives you the equivalent of 2.5 million a day. Every 2 hours, we would have sold one. So as an independent real estate agency, we would have been one of the largest in New Zealand, if any will be the largest in Australasia. We used to be with a franchise, now we are independent on our own, and that's the sort of number we do. How we do that, I guess compared to before, in 2004 to 2007 period, I guess for the audience, you're wondering how does this sort of number works, because every one of us only got so much hours in a day. And when we were number one with the Ray White franchise in 2004 to 2007 period, we were only doing about 149 million a year, and that comes with a total of 85 staff. Today we have half of the number of staff, and we're doing $700 million. That's through experience, be able to source property, and location-wise, we can go now nationwide from Whangarei to Queenstown, and we now branch into Sydney, Gold Coast, Adelaide, Melbourne also recently. So the experience that we have experienced now through our real estate agency and our network of people and the wealth of experience that we got with the connection with developers, bankers, we are able to move properties within 24 hours to a week to sell a whole subdivision out. And with the database that we have and the client that we mentor over the years, from most of our client when we mentor, even our staff, it's like when they start with 0 properties, now they own anything from 5 to 37 properties. And in return, our client are in similar sort of mode. So we see multi-millionaires being created through many of our sources of agent and client networks. So it's been, really exciting times to watch people.
No, I know personally that you've actually lost some real estate agents because they've retired based on the portfolios that they've got and built during their time working with you as well. I mean, it's sort of it's the perfect result, I suppose, of what you're trying to achieve.
Well, one thing good about real estate is, you can become a nobody when you start. I'm talking about if you were an agent, or I'm talking about you were an investor. You start at 0 right now, or you might have 1 house or 2 houses, and your friends and family or your neighbors might have 5 houses or 10 houses. Real estate gives you the opportunity to catch up and to pass them if your determination is there. But it doesn't come easy. It comes with hard work. It comes with sheer determinations, and it also comes with great coaching and great experience of people around you. You can't do it alone. Yes, you can do it alone, but along the way, you'll stuff it up somewhere and lose your money. And we have seen people lose money along the way when they do 5 to 6 good deals, and then the 6th to 7th deal, because they think they're invincible, they know the market well, they bought the wrong property in the wrong location, and just take 2 wrong deals to go wrong, and then you go backwards on that basis.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. What are your whys then? We've got a few slides here and stuff. What is it that motivates you, that makes you want to go out? I know you work incredibly hard. I was talking to you in your office late last night. And what is it that makes you work that hard and want it that bad?
Well, firstly, when I left school, or when I was at school, I guess come here and speak English as your second language. It's pretty hard to compete in school because you get the Kiwi kids that's always better in English than you. So my ranking at school, out of 50 students, you know, I was 46 and 45th. So you feel pretty bad about that because it doesn't matter what you do, you can't be the top 20 because of the barriers that you have. But at an earlier age, I was determined enough to be a millionaire, and I was determined that if my fellow school students studied to get a degree by the time they left school, another 10 years to get a degree, they'd be 25. I left school early. I said, well, when you come out of school, you'll work for me because I'm going to get into business. So I guess, and also my family, there's 7 of us, and I'm the second youngest, and my older brother and sisters always had more money than me. And
Yeah.
you know, when I was 14 to 15, I got no money to go and play spaceys, and you know, the 20-cent coin at the time and the 50-cent coins was bigger. So I need to go and pinch some of their money to go and play video games, and I run out of money. So my motivation firstly was to become the richest person in my family, because I want to have money so I can do these things. And fair enough, when I become an agent, I get to know more and more people that's successful. And then when I saw the rich list at the time, that was 10 million to be on a rich list. When I was in my 3rd or 4th year in real estate, I thought, I want to become on the rich list because 10 million at the time, I bought my first house for 42,000. I bought my second house after 6 months for 75,000. I bought my third house in a year for 145,000. And I thought, hey, I'm not very far away here. I want to become on the rich list. That was my personal goal. So I guess your why must be way bigger. Why do you want something? It's got to be more than whatever is in your current position that you're sitting right now. It can't be, if you earn 50,000, you want to earn 75,000. That's not a burning desire to be successful. If you earn 50,000, you got to say you want to earn 500,000. And the question is, how the hell am I going to earn 500,000 if I'm earning 50,000 right now? But that's a challenge that you must have in your mind, where you have to find how. How do you find it? Well, hang around with people who knows how. That's simple. You know, like on the recent months, I actually achieved like 500,000 in a week. Can you imagine that? 50,000 in a year or 500,000 in a week. So how do you earn 500,000 in a week? It's impossible. And it's impossible in my mind going back even 5 years ago. It is impossible in my mind going back 10 years ago, as it will be on my thinking. So my challenge to the audience right now is, whatever it is you earn, have you got the power and the ability to go 10 times more? And if you want to, and you don't know how, then we have the solution to show you how.
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes down to exactly the slides that you put together here. Your fears and, you know, the thing that holds you back is never ever as big as the thing that inspires you and pushes you forward and makes you want to do these things. And I suppose you've got to the point where you went, well, I'm earning $50,000 a year, and I thought that was unachievable, and now I can do it very easily, and now I'm at $500,000 a month. And it sort of opens up your future and makes it look like there's nothing that's not doable or not achievable.
Well, our donation is 50,000 a year now to charity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you imagine that? You want to earn 50,000 a year, or you want to earn more, or you earn 100,000 a year, or let alone 200,000 a year. Have you got the ability or the power or the want or the gift back to the community by donating $50,000 to charity, for example? And that's what we do. You know, like when your community, your people support you, you have a sense of responsibility for the community to support young sports teams, young kids, cancer, hospice, all of those charity that we support. And and it's really, really satisfying that I'm able to do that now. Now, not long ago, I was even going back, if you go 5 years ago. I want to touch on you all know that, some of you know that I made the rich list in 2007 at $16 million. That was one of my very ambitious period. And going back 5 years before 2007, my goal was to double my incomes every year. Okay, so your goal now is to double your incomes every year. Say if you earn 50,000 now, you want to do 100,000 in the next 12 months. 24 months you go to 200,000, 36 months 400, 48 months 800, and in 52 months say 1.6 million. The question is, can you do it? Also, how do you do it? And have you got fears in your mind? Is it impossible that you can't do it? Well, I have set my goal to achieve that. And in 2007 period, I entered the rich list at 60 million net worth. I had a total asset about 130 million. I had houses everywhere. I was buying a house a day, selling a house a day. I had a full-time purchasing agent. At the same time, my company was doing well, and greed got in the way. This is what will happen, and it will happen to you along the way, regardless of size of your investment. It could be 1 million, 2 million, 5 million. Along the way, somewhere, you think you're invincible. Your structures are wrong, you trust a lot of people, and then you leave it allow for the downfall or the downturn of the market or the finance market to change. Well, when the GFC came in 2008 period, 2009, you see many millionaires and billionaires fall down and go back to zero. Well, I was one of those victims. And I tell you what, from driving Porsches to Maseratis, having your own home, having your company, and lost all that control. A lot of people would commit suicide, a lot of people give up, a lot of people become alcoholics, and all sorts of stuff. Marriage gets broke up and so on. Well, I never had this experience happen to me ever. And I decided to think that when I come here in 1980, I was a refugee. I had nothing. And at the time when this happened to me, I wasn't a refugee equivalent at the time, because I still had my family, I still had my house at the time, I had a car, and I got still family support, and I had better food that I was eating at the time than in 1980. So it's not all that bad at the time. It seemed to be really bad, but when you compare, when you first come here and what you were in 2008 period, it's not all that bad that your position changed. So you can only compare yourself to be sort of like, okay, it's not all that bad, get over it, carry on, and go forward from there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a magic story. You know, you've had at one point in your life, you know, less resources than anybody, and turned it into an entry in the rich list at 60 million. And then, you know, as you say, a lot of people get their head down and that get distressed and go, oh my God, this is impossible. But I suppose when you decided that you would put into liquidation, you went back to zero, and you decided to yourself, right, I'm going to get it all back. And I've read some articles, and even your receiver said that you would be back. And really the only thing that you had to come back with was your sheer determination and the knowledge and skills that you'd actually built from the person that you'd become. And I think that's the top part about education, is that you never lose it. You never lose that burning desire and the knowledge and the skills that you've got. So what did it take for you to go from where you ended up with being, you know, let's face it, you know, torn apart a little bit financially? How did you actually get back to where you are today? You've got your company back, you've got your agents back, you've got cash flow back. I mean, what did that take?
Well, firstly, it takes a lot of rejections. When you're in liquidation, when you're in receivership, when your house is going up for mortgagee sale, when you make the newspaper from a good boy to a bad boy, man, you know, the New Zealand market or the Auckland market, people are really mean because, and I'm pretty sure some of your audience will experience that. The loyalty in people is not as strong, so you get rejections everywhere. You apply for a new franchise, for example, because your existing franchise rejected you. You apply for another franchise, they rejected you, and you just keep on applying because now I'm experiencing that human nature, when we're in trouble, we're looking for the quick fix. So naturally, when I was in trouble, I would decline my existing franchise, so I immediately thought the quickest fix was to go and apply for another franchise because they get the existing computer system, the emails, and that's a quick fix. But the best thing they did for me was to reject me because of my current situation. So they forced me into a point where the only thing I got is my name. I was born with my name, therefore the only thing that I have is Don Ha. So, and I analyzed myself at that moment. I said, Don Ha is not a bank robber. He's not a criminal. And what is wrong with that? All the people that he helped in his company are multimillionaires. All the customer multimillionaires. My family are multimillionaires. And I thought, okay, my only thing that I have is my experience, my ability to sell, my integrities, and the people that I know and they believe in me. So I decided that Don Ha Real Estate is the name and is the brand, and we went ahead with that. And my question is, if this happened to you, would you do the same, or would you go in hiding because of what happened to you? And a lot of us go into hiding because we believe that our name has been tarnished and damaged, so we can't hide. We have to hide from the public. Oh, I did the reverse. I dress up like a millionaire. I went to restaurants so people can see me. They can whisper about me, but they can't talk to my face because if they want to talk to me about my face, they tell me the truth. But what have I done to anyone? I haven't done anything to anyone. The fact that the financial market around the world was collapsing, you know, even Detroit got gone into bankrupt. So who am I to stand alone? Because my experience of building my empire was wrong, my structure was wrong, my advisors were wrong, and I never been from 0 to 60 million my whole life. Therefore, how do I know what to do? It's just like all the lotto winners. They lose all their money after a few years because no one ever told them what to do, what structures to put in to protect them to retain that wealth. Well, I guess experience now, before I would say I don't care about experience. But now I can say to you, experience is everything because you have to learn from someone who's more experienced than you. You've got to learn how to put structures in place, and you've got to learn how to bulletproof your system going forward. So from being $60 million down to 0, I must say, start from 0 at that time, it's not easy because I have to go back out in the streets and I have to take whatever comes at me because I had nothing at the time. My staff was richer than me at the time. Can you believe that? The staff that I created were far more wealthy than me at the time. And it is amazing to see that how can you be so ahead of the people you created? And now you've gone down to the last in the queue. But now I'm caught up to the queue and pass them again. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the skills, though. You know, you're a man on a mission, and you know what you're doing, and you're motivated, and you've got these particular skills, and you see it again and again. And I mean, I got to say, I know exactly where you're coming from because I've got clients who have exceeded me in net worth, and I take that as a badge of honour. I think that's bloody great. I think that if you can teach somebody how to create wealth and they can do it better than you can, then great. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, well, our wealth of experience now, I used to have a saying that it's harder to make $100,000 or it's harder to make silver $100,000 than actually making $1 million. Now, going back 5 years ago, going back 10 years ago, I was making $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 in a deal, it's now easier to make $1 million in a deal or several $1 million in a deal because of experience. It's just not experience alone. It's connections, it's finance power, it's hanging around with good people, it's about networking. Well, we now have all of that people on our side. Therefore, it's just a phone call away. We want to know about something, we get an answer straight away. We can analyze numbers very quickly. We can give you advice very quickly, and now it's easier to make $1 million instead of making $100,000. And I know it sounds a bit crazy to some of the audience, but once you get there, it becomes every day, every week, every month thing, and that's how you get fast forward.
Yeah, I think I'd summarise that as well as saying that it's actually not very hard to make $100,000, but it's just hard to make that first $100,000. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. We have a lot of clients now that we manage. Our clients ranging from 100,000, 300,000, 500,000, and to 5 million. One particular client can go all the way to 10 million, for example. One of our clients is very special to us. I'll tell you a story about this client. I went to see him about 5 years ago, and he's a doctor. And it was on a Sunday afternoon when I go and see the doctor for my ear. Now going back 5 years ago, that's when I was just out of receivership, and I had tinnitus in my ear because obviously going to stress. I went to see the doctor on Sunday to fix this noise that I was hearing in my ear, and it cost me $45 to see this guy. And when he saw my name, and he said, "You're the guy," and I said, "Yes, I am the guy." I don't know what he meant by that, but I just said yes. And he said, "You are the guy that I want to learn from every mistake you make." He said, "I read about you, I've seen your ups and I've seen your downs, but I want to learn from you all the mistakes you make." So I said, "Fine, you come see me next week and I will talk to you." So on Monday he turned up to my office and I said, "You didn't make any appointment?" And he said, "I didn't make any appointment because I want to know if you're real or not." So then I sit down and I analyze him and I said, "What are your goals?" Now, you've got to set goals. He said, "I want to achieve 10 million in 5 years. Can you do it?" So I need to know, obviously, his assets, his income, and what he's currently got. And when I look at what he has got, at the time it was, it was just an average portfolio. And I said, "Yep, you can do it in 5 years, no problems." Now, most people now, if that question was asked to anyone, can you say yes or no? Well, I said, "I can do it for you." Well, 4 years to the day, he came in and he said, "Do you know what date it is today?" And I said, "No, I don't." He said, "It's been 4 years to the day. I come in to see you. I said I want to achieve 10 million in 5 years. Today, conservatively, I have achieved 15 million.
Wow.
I had tears in my eyes and he had tears in his eyes. and I also then turned his daughter also into a millionaire as well, not just him. So there you go. That was just through sheer determination, great mentoring, and great care. And because I made all my mistakes already, so I didn't allow him to make his mistakes because those are the wrong choices. So I'm always guiding him to the right path. That's just one of the examples of one of the clients.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's fabulous. And so, what's the hourly rate thing? Walk us through this.
Well, basically, if you in an hourly rate now, whatever you do, you got to think about yourself. How you work so hard, and you only get paid so much, and you know that you can predict your incomes. If you work on an hourly rate basis right now, you know exactly what you're going to earn in the next 12 months. You know exactly what you're going to earn in the next 24 months, and also in the next 36 months. By sheer inflation or pay increase, you know that the next 5 years where you're going to stand. And would you rather be income predictable in the next 5 years, or you'd rather say, my current income is great, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it to to buy property, to trade properties, and to double my income or to triple my income on the same hourly rate I am, then that means, for example, if you earn now 60,000 or 80,000 or 100,000 a year, you should try to earn another 100,000 a year on top. So by the end of the year, you earn 200,000 a year, and in 5 years, you would have got $1 million instead of $500,000. So you saved yourself 5 years of your life earning. And look, working for an hourly rate or working for a salary or working on a fixed income, you know where you're going, but you got to use your current income in your current company, and you got to use it so that you can create triple or even quadruple your incomes by doing property deals on that basis. So you got to analyze your hourly rate very carefully, and you know, a lot of us work like 8 hours a day, but we end up working 14-hour days because we might get triple times or double times. Well, I think those 4 hours you should be working for yourself and attend some seminars, read some books, hang out with some successful people, and try to get ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. And so you put in here some philosophies. Do you want to run through these and let people know sort of where your headspace is at in regards to these?
Well, right now, when I was worth $60 million, I had 500 friends. You know, when you got a lot of money, you have a lot of friends. And
yeah.
And you thought that you can trust 500 people, but I think 450 of them will want to rip you off and tell you wrong things. So my philosophy now, after I reinvented myself, is I will only work with people that I know. I will only work with people that I trust, and I'll work with people that's recommended to me, and I will not work with people who just come in and talk really big shot and try to be somebody and use me. I can sense them now. So I think friends, families, colleagues, clients, referral networks, and people who's proven themselves are the key to their success. If anyone who comes here and tries to sell me something and they haven't proved themselves yet, well, if they can't demonstrate that to me, I just can't deal with them. And I'm pretty sure all of us can recognize that, and we've been through it a lot of times. And you know, you get a lot of people who con you, and these days, my personal experience is like a con man will meet you 3-4 times, earn the trust, and maybe on the 5th time that they ask you for some money. Well, if you experience that, then you will know who they are. Therefore, going forward, this is 2017. The finance market, the property market, the internet, the social medias, people are now no longer how they used to be. So hanging around with good people and good key people, common interests, people who support you instead of being negative towards you, that's the people you want to hang out with to go forward.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And so number 2, when you think you know it all, you lose it all?
Well, yes, you know, like we all been there. When we think we're so successful, we think we're invincible. There's a term to say that when you owe $1 million to the bank and you got a problem, and when you owe $50 million to the bank's got a problem. Well, I think that saying is actually wrong because the bank is still control you, and we've seen it now time and time again. So the saying is good to say that, hey, I work 30 million now, the bank's got a problem, I can tell the bank what to do. Now that's when you lose it all, because the bank is far bigger than you, and your experience and whatever it is you do, you never know it all, because you might know one area. Say for example, Steve, you're in Wellington now, you know the Wellington market really well, and you just told me about Petone, how it's going up, it's going crazy in value. Well, I don't know that market that well, so I can't come down there and recommend my people to buy down in Wellington. I've got to come to see you so you can recommend me. But if I think I know it all, and I go and buy a property in the wrong location in Wellington, well, I could lose it, and it could pull me back, because I might bought 3 or 4 properties that is in the wrong location that I can't get out of it, and my equity goes backwards. I'll lose 2 or 3 years of that for buying the wrong property. So knowing it all, attitude will never work. Every day you go to work and you think that you're going to learn something new, it's the attitude you should have.
Yep, I couldn't agree anymore. So how about this one? Staying the course. Explain us through that.
Yeah, I think these days you might want to achieve 10 things, and many of us think that we can do 10 things, meaning that 10 different business ideas, multitasking. Yes, we all can do it, but man, stay into one focus of one path. Firstly, if you're not a millionaire yet, get to become a millionaire. Once you become a millionaire, try to become a multi-millionaire. What works for you, keep doing it. Don't try to reinvent the wheel because it won't work. So right now, Donha is only doing properties, selling properties, listing properties, doing developments, managing developments, and that's all Donha does because that's what I know best. But before that, I had race horses, I had horse stables, I had construction companies, I had finance companies, I had all sorts of stuff running on the go, and I had 20 companies running at once. But none of them are performing to its peak because I wasn't focused on all of them. I was spending maybe 5 to 20% on each one of them, and I left it to the people that run it, and it can go wrong. Therefore, now, if you do one thing and achieve 100%, in a very short space of time, like for example, achieve $500,000 in a week or in a month, just doing one thing. When you do 10 things, you achieve 300,000. Well, why are you wasting your time doing 10 things for when you can do one thing that works? Less is more.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. You've got to have a laser focus in this market. Everybody specialises these days rather than trying to be everything to everyone, you know?
Yeah.
All right, number 4. Can't even read these. Wow. Those who leave with signals should be careful away, but you may not just make poor people choices too. Okay. Walk us through that one.
Yeah. Well, I think that people should be able to see and indicate what works for them and not what works for them. I mean, we can all make choices. We can all make choices in what we want to do, but we have all our personal instincts that, hey, this really works for me, and therefore I'll stick to it. This person that I can get on with, or this person I can't get on with, or I'm trying to get along with. Well, don't even try. You know if it's wrong, it's wrong. You know the deal's wrong, it's wrong. So your instinct at the instant level that you saw for the first 5 to 10 minutes of a deal or of a person that you meet, it's the choice that you can decide yes or no. And don't be scared to say no to a deal. Don't be scared to say no to somebody, and don't be scared to walk away from a deal or from someone because a lot of us can't say no because of the pressure that we face. Meaning, like, let's just say in my early days when I was earning say 30,000 to 50,000 a year, I struggled to say no to someone who's more successful than me. Well, I think that was wrong. You should be able to say no regardless because you don't feel comfortable. But a lot of us say yes to something even though we don't want to. We should be able to make choices that, hey, this is a choice, this is clear. The more we can say no to something we don't want, the more successful we'll become faster in that sense.
Yeah, I could agree with that. More either, that's brilliant. Only you can truly relight your own fire. Everyone else is a watcher or a waiter or a passenger. You're the only true driver of you. Okay.
Well, no one can influence you what to do. And look, by the day, like all the audience out there right now, I don't see you. I don't pay for your bills. If your car gets flat tire on the side of the street right now, well, I can't pay for you because I don't know you. Therefore, you must be true to yourself. You don't live for your neighbors, you don't live for your friends, and you don't try to keep up with the Joneses just to keep them happy. You are doing it for yourself firstly, your priority. Your immediate family is who you're doing it for. You don't just simply go out there just because your neighbor's got a brand new car and you're going to get one to keep up. Well, that's where things will go wrong. Well, who cares if they got a new car? You just stick to your true path, invest for the next few years, I know it's hard work. I know that you might not get that new car, but on your third or your fourth year, you might even have 2 BMWs because you choose that investment path. And I think 90% of people these days is keeping up with the Johnsons, which is by the end of the day you have no money left. My choice is different. I always remind myself that no one's going to pay for my bills. Therefore, I don't really care what people say about how I dress, and I don't really care what the press writes about me because, again, they don't pay me the bills neither. Therefore, I just stick to my true one path. I am the driver of my life, my destiny, and my future for my family.
Yeah, magic. No, I totally agree with that one as well. So, if a few of the questions that I've been asked by the people attending this webinar tonight are along the lines of, what do you actually think is happening in the Auckland property market right now? Because it's gone through a pretty violent boom for the last 7 or 8 years. What are you seeing right now in the property market? Are you seeing stuff that you're actually buying for yourself at the moment? And where are you seeing them at?
Well, the property market in the past 3 or 4 years in Auckland has been crazy. Some have gone 50% to 100% increase. And with the current LVR rules now, what the best thing about it right now is, 45% of the Auckland property market are sold to investors. And all of a sudden, if you've got 5 or 10 homes, you're basically out of the market because you can't buy any more. At least you've got a lot of equity. So the current market right now, we see the property is going into a downward trend, especially in South Auckland here. We see them going from 10 to maybe some are 15% even in some locations. In the East Auckland area, some of the houses are 1,150,000. Now we see them at 985,000. And in the next 3 to 5 years, I think there'll be another 40,000 or so section that's going to be released in the Auckland market. So for the one that isn't investing in property in the past 2 or 3 years and waiting for the market to go down, well, this is your opportunity now is to get into the market because, say, last year, if you go and buy a house in Manurewa, you would have got 30 offers in, competing offers against you, and it would go for like 650 or 600,000 for a do-up. This year, if the same house comes on the market, there might be only 1 or 3 offers, and it will come in the range of somewhere between 500 to 530,000. So, the opportunity now for the new investor to enter the market is quite an amazing opportunity. To me, this is the best time for any investors that hasn't been investing actively in the past 12 to 24 months. This is your chance. This is your best chance to enter the market, and you always wonder. And I'm pretty sure this is in everyone's head. It's like, how the hell do I get into the property market when it keeps on going up? I can't even buy one. Well, now you should be saying, hey, great news. The property market in Auckland is going downward trend. The LVR is at 40%. I haven't bought any. Therefore, it's my opportunity to buy now because I'm going to cut out all my competition because I'm the only few that now will enter the market. And then within the next 18 months to 2 years or so, the banking criteria will change back because bank got all their money back, development funding's coming back in, and they'll change it back to 20% or 10%. Well, that's the time we should sell again. So always see a great opportunity there in the Auckland market.
Yeah, I agree. And I know a lot of people that are diving into this Auckland property market right now just for exactly that same reason. How do you see this 40%, 60% LVR change affecting the way investors are buying? Has it made a massive difference, do you think?
It has. We now seen a lot of that difference. Like, for example, as I said, your competitors are now very, very less. Therefore, if you got your equities, say you bought a property, and say you have to put in 40%, and you renovate the home out, well, you're reselling it to the owner-occupier market right now. The owner-occupier market has now got more choices to choose, but then again, there's not many people that will renovate houses up as how it was before. Before we would have got maybe 15 vacant homes that's fully renovated. Now we have very less because they no longer are around. So therefore, if you're planning to enter into the Auckland market or planning to enter into the renovation market or even to buy and hold for the next few years, I would say this is your chance, this is your time, this is your day for you to enter into the market. If the market continue doing what it's doing and the LVR rule doesn't come in, I say you've got no chance to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. And then you tagged that into your comment previously about selling, a huge number of properties in your first year in real estate, and it was only sort of $10 million worth all up. And you look at that and you go, well, geez, if you can buy a couple of things in South Auckland now for $500,000-600,000, it's not going to be long before even the South Auckland suburbs that have been sort of looked down upon in previous years become $1 million average price sort of suburbs. And as you say, there's a pause in the market right now, which is just, screaming out to be exploited, or at least an entry point for every investor that's around.
Well, we got the best weapon in the marketplace. That we actually going to present a seminar called "How to Beat the 40% Rule Against the Bank." That'll probably be our heading, but we thought we're going to present it to everyone. But since it's March on the 26th, I think I will actually going to present it to the Auckland seminars, and perhaps I will do that also in the Wellington seminars. How to buy a property, make a profit, and still use 10 to 20% deposit, not 40. Now, I think I have the best weapon to challenge the Reserve Bank for that, and I think that the audience should be at the event on March 26th and May 7th, because what I'm presenting to you, I don't think that anyone will ever seen yet.
Wow, interesting. I didn't know anything about this. That really interests me, as well as I'm sure all of my clients.
Yeah, and yes, it's not a statement that I make. It's actually true. So if you're an audience right now and say, oh my God, I haven't got 40%, I got 30%, or I got 25%, and I got to save up 15% to make it 40 to buy a property. Well, I got the answer for you. You don't need 40%.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Like, I really look forward to that. So what else are you going to talk about at the Property Masters event? We've got some stage time for you. We're really interested to hear some more of your story. What else are you going to go through?
I think the biggest challenge is go through mindsets. I mean, firstly, your mind is the biggest challenge. How to handle adversities when you experienced it. How to structure your affairs going forward so that you bulletproof yourself. Because to me, if you get your structures wrong, then when things go wrong, you could lose everything like I do. And also, how to exceed your mind power from zero to hero and stay focused. And I will provide you methods of how to exceed in property investing through myself, also to my client, what they achieve. I mean, we've done some deals, for example. How about this for a deal? $145,000 deposit to make $1 million in 12 months. Or sorry, in 15 months. $145,000 deposit to make $1 million.
Is that one of your deals, or was that something you brought to somebody?
That's one of the deals that I did for clients. And I also have another deal where the client makes $1.5 million in one deal in 9 months. These sort of deals, through experience, through sourcing property, to know what works and what don't work, that's the sort of deal we do now. And we just seen another client even done a deal, went out there outside the car park tonight. He just made $500,000 on a deal, for example. So usually for making $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 property deal, that these deals are just incredible, and they still is out there doing it. They are still doing it right now.
Right. So what would you say to the people online tonight who are sitting there going, that you can't make that sort of money, and that the LVR restriction holds everybody back and nothing's really ticking over? I mean, surely you must be sitting there going, well, that's not my experience.
Well, my only answer to that, Steve, is I know that if you put your name into something, say, for example, you put your name into a contract, even if it was conditional for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and you don't have to buy the property, but you put your name on it because you decide to make an offer, subject to due diligence. And because you're the one with the contract on the deal, and the next minute somebody else wants that property simply because you got it, so they've got to buy it off you. And then just because you do that, you could pick up 50,000, 30,000, or 80,000, or it could be $1 million in some instance. I only had an experience, only happened to one of my clients only a few days ago, that exactly that happened. So if I can share the story, this is quite an amazing story, really. So there was a property that was on the market, waterfront, and there was an offer on it for, I think, around $6 million, and it was conditioned for 3 weeks. Well, believe it or not, there was a backup agreement on it for $1 million more. Isn't that amazing?
$1 million more.
$1 million more. It's because somebody else wants it, but it's because somebody else had a contract on it before. So my only answer to that is you must take action. You must put your name on something. You must sign an agreement. You don't sign an agreement to buy it. You sign an agreement to do your due diligence before you buy it, but along the way, somebody else will want your contract. And it happens all the time.
Yeah, again and again, and we saw one in the papers today exactly like that, you know. Yeah. Hey, well, look, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm really pumped. I can't wait to see what it is that you want to show us at the Auckland and Wellington event to get around that loan-to-value ratio restriction. That's really stunning. But on top of that, I'm just really looking forward to seeing the rest of your story told, basically, and hear from you exactly how it is that you've got to where you are today. I think that's going to be outstanding. I really appreciate the time you've been able to spend with us tonight, the questions you've been able to answer. That's fantastic. Look, I really appreciate you coming along and joining us, and also joining us for the events in Wellington and Auckland.
Well, thank you, Steve, and thank you to the audience. But the best thing I can say to you is when I speak at these seminars on March 26th and May 7th, all my stories are true. All my examples has happened. So I'm not one of these people that present and borrow stories around the world, borrow example. It's not a borrow story. It's actually real, actual, factual things that happen in my life, and therefore it works. So I'm looking forward to see you all on those 2 event dates.
Fantastic, me too. Well, thanks again, Don. I really appreciate that, and I'm going to make a wee offer now to make sure that everybody online tonight can get along to the event if they wish to. As Don mentioned, the events are on in Auckland on the 26th of March, and then on Wellington on the 7th of May. It's our Property Masters 2.0 event, so we've got pretty much a complete new lineup of presenters and speakers, and we've really redesigned this entire event to be maximum value. And I think it shows tonight when you look at it, you go, well, I didn't really know what Don was going to say, and his content is amazing. And obviously he's got some real interesting surprises for us there in his content as well. So really looking forward to that. So tonight's offer, so that you can grab this, you guys online tonight can grab yourself a ticket and come along and see it, is available on bookthedeal.co.nz. So if you want to grab a ticket tonight, all you need to do is go from this webinar across to bookthedeal.co.nz, which is just a booking page for us. We've got an offer on there that's going to run for the next 1 hour, the next 60 minutes. I think tonight they've allocated basically 80 tickets to this. I looked at the ticket numbers just before I came online, and it looks like we've got around 600 or 700 people now booked to come to either the Auckland or the Wellington event. We've got to be kind of rather careful, because we've booked the biggest rooms in both Wellington and Auckland for this event, because it is a really major main event. But we sell it every year as well, and so we always run out of space. We're always running around on the morning of the event looking for more chairs. We always get in trouble for packing more people in, and we like to sit everybody at big round tables so everybody's comfortable, and so we often run out of tickets, so we actually end up running out rather quickly. But here's the offer we've got for you tonight, and it's a no-frills offer. Basically, for the next 60 minutes, you can grab your ticket to the Masters for only $37. Now, that $37 ticket is a no-frills, just a ticket for 2 people. So $37, double ticket, 2 people come along. And we're considering tonight's webinar just to be our rock-bottom price, no frills, just come along and learn lots of stuff price. We're not going to throw any flowery add-ons and bonuses and Ginzu knives to it. I think you can see from the lineup of speakers that we've introduced and the content that we're trying to achieve and the things that we're trying to show you that we honestly just want to sit in the room for a day with a whiteboard and show you what we have done, what people like myself and Don Hara have managed to achieve through property and through real estate, and teach you how you can do the same thing. And now, both Don and myself have done that for thousands of people over the last 10 or 15 years. We have influenced and helped and achieved property growth in portfolios left, right, and centre. We have taken people from absolutely zero to massive, massive amounts of wealth they could never believe was possible previously. And I think this evening you've been able to see that through what Don's shown you and through what we've done in previous webinars as well. And we just want you guys to have that sort of growth and be able to see that and do that as well. And so if you're sitting online tonight and going, are these guys full of it? Are these guys for real? Then Google me, Google Don, Google Property Shooters, have a look at our Facebook fan page and have a look through and say, who are these guys? What do they do? How do they do it? And I think you'll be kind of blown away. We're real. We do this stuff. We do this on a really, really big scale. And so that's our deal tonight. Go to bookthedeal.co.nz, grab yourself a ticket, $37. It's absolutely our rock bottom deal. That's a ticket for 2 people just to rock along and jump into the event. And what we're going to do at the event is we're going to show you 7 hours of investing content. We're going to show you 9 property millionaires live on stage. We're going to show you a question and answer session where you can look through and ask us any questions you like on property-related issues and anything else that's ticking around in your head that you want to know. We're going to have property finance experts, tax experts, and real client case studies in the room, meaning that we're not only going to present a case study of a client of ours bought this property, did this to it, and sold it for this much and made this much money, but we're actually going to present the client to you and say, this is the person who actually did it, and then you can have a conversation with them, talk to them about it. It's just that simple and that straightforward. So that's what we do. That's how we do it. We've got 80 tickets available this evening for you guys to do that. If you're listening to this recording and haven't listened to the webinar live, we've actually held 10 tickets aside for you as well. So what we're going to actually do is we've recorded this webinar live and we are going to put it on YouTube. We're going to email the link out. And if you're listening to that recording and you're not live with us tonight, we've got 10 tickets sitting aside for you as well. And so the deal still goes live for another couple of days after that with those 10 tickets or until they sell out. Now, we are absolutely, completely, fully real people. And so we hate when people oversell something. And for that reason, what we've decided to do as well is if you turn up to this event and at any point in the event, 20 minutes into the event and I've hardly warmed up and done my introduction, if you sit there and you go, man, this is rubbish, this is not what I was promised, I'm not learning stuff, I'm not getting a kick out of this, there's nothing here that I haven't seen before, any of those issues come to your head whatsoever, come to me or any of our crew and staff in the room. We'll give you a refund, apologise and say, see you later, there's the door, no worries whatsoever. We have a 100% money back guarantee. Now on top of that, we've got a second guarantee. The second guarantee is we're not going to try and sell you anything on the day. We're not going to sit there and put the thumb screws on and go, hey, we're signing you up for our coaching program. We're going to explain what the coaching program is, and if you want to, you can apply to sit down and have a conversation about it with us later on. But we're not selling anything on the day at the event. So come along and suck up the content and learn some stuff and talk to some of our crew and some of our examples of some of the people that are going to be there. Network with the other people around the table with you on the night. But we're not going to try and sell you into our program on the day. If you're interested in it, you can absolutely put an application in and we'll have a conversation with you later on. But that's up to you. We're not going to, get funny about it and be, hard sell, and it's just silly. It just doesn't work for anybody. I hope that's a fair call to you as well. So there you go. That's my presentation tonight. I hope you've really enjoyed it. I profusely want to thank Don Hart for opening up his life a little to you. I know that he has far more content than that he'd like to talk to you about at the event. I'm stunned with that shocker that he feels that he can circumvent or manage to finance stuff at 10 and 15% when everybody else is saying that you need a 40% deposit. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what that one looks like. So, you know, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat at the event as well. Stoked that you guys can be online. Go to bookthedeal.co.nz and book your tickets. If you have trouble with their website, and I know that it gets a bit crammed and stuff, keep trying. That ticket deal is open for 60 minutes or until we sell through the 80 tickets we have available for us this evening. If you have any issues or whatever, in the questions and answers session online here tonight, chuck your questions in, and if you're struggling to get your hands on those tickets that you want to, please feel free to put in your name, phone number, and email address in the Q&A section here, and we'll give you a call back either tonight or tomorrow and make sure you get the ticket that you want. Having said that, Rob jumps on and says, pumped and looking forward to attend the event. Awesome, Rob. Looking forward to seeing you there as well. Christopher says, yep, looking forward to it. Excellent. Looking forward to seeing you as well. We're just loading up the third in this series of probably 4 webinars as well. So keep an eye on the Facebook fan page and we'll register you all for the next webinar. What we might actually do is email out to every attendee tonight, because we got very, very close tonight to our maximum number of people we can put on any one webinar. What we might do is email out to everybody who's online tonight and give you first sniff of the next webinar in the series, just so that you can make sure that you can get your registration and don't miss out as well. James says, I missed part of this webinar. Can you send me a link to the recording? No, you were tardy. You missed out. No, I'm kidding. No, we did record this. We will be putting it on YouTube and sending a link out to everybody that attended and for those people that missed out on it as well. What's the location of the event on the 26th? We're going to be in the main ballroom of the Langham Hotel in central Auckland. It's the biggest room in Auckland. It's the nicest room in Auckland, to be fair. Beautiful room. And that's where we're going to be. Central Auckland, lots of parking around it. Only other issue we've had from a few people is they've said, will we be out in time to go to the concert that night, because Adele is playing in Auckland that night? Yes, we will have you out in time for that as well. Tanton says, cheers, Steve, great webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. Great to have you there. Just had a text through from our support guys in the background who said we have burnt through 21 ticket sales this evening so far. So we only have 80 available, and we've gone through 21 already. So if you guys are sitting there banging into that website, then keep going, grab yourself that ticket. Thanks, Steve and Don, for an excellent presentation. See you on the 26th. Great, Bill. See you then. Looking forward to it. Sanit has had a small issue with the website. If you have an issue with the website and you can't get through on bookthedeal.co.nz, please feel free to give me your name, phone number, and email address, and let us know whether you're Auckland or Wellington event, and we will give you a call back straight away, either tonight or first thing tomorrow, and we will make sure that you get your tickets. Mark says, hey Steve. Hey Mark, how are you doing? Answered that question. Pull your questions in, guys. Pile on in. Rob says, grabbed his ticket, see you at the event. Oh, interesting one. Got a question here. Got cleaned out recently by RI. Nothing left, no equity. Any hope for us? Do we have to build a deposit over the next few years? Fantastic question. And it actually it bodes well for the content that I'm going to deliver as well. Due to a separation, I had to pretty much start a separate portfolio to my main portfolio fairly much from scratch about 12 months ago. And I'm going to show live on stage exactly how I did that from scratch pretty much. And I'm going to explain all the numbers, give you all the names and phone numbers and addresses and when I bought everything and from start to finish, and show you where I got to in a 12-month period with some education, a little bit of money, and a hell of a lot of determination. And to be fair, I think a lot of Don's presentation is going to be very similar as well, because I mean, he started from scratch, got to $60 million, and then was taken down, and he's come back a long, long way. So his presentation is very, very similar to that. And you know, a lot of people ask me, what would you do if you had to start again from scratch? And I kind of had to. So, you know, yeah, I think it'll be very informative for you. And great question. And yes, it is doable. Chris asked, do you do personal mentoring and coaching? Yes, we do. Absolutely. And we'll be talking about that a little bit at both the Auckland and the Wellington event. So, you know, grab a ticket. Let's come along. Sam says, thanks, Steve. Interesting webinar. Great. Good to have you on board, Sam. Thanks for joining us. Robert says thanks and bye for now. Dion says, having trouble getting through the website to pay my $37. Here's my mobile number. Thank you very much for that. We will get in touch with you and make sure you get your ticket. We are 28, 29, 30 ticket sales into our 80 tickets for the night as well. So yeah, he banging through that. That's great. James asked the question, do you still recommend Auckland given the market is slowing? Absolutely. I recommend Auckland now because the market is slowing. I can't imagine it going backwards, to be fair. I think now's your golden opportunity to get your hands on some really cool stuff. Absolutely. I'll explain more at the event as well. I'm sure Don will as well. Fantastic. Lisa asks, where is the event in Wellington? We're in the Intercontinental Hotel, mezzanine level, first floor. Their main ballrooms, biggest room we get our hands on, and they do really nice coffee, which is kind of vital when you're starting a bit early on a Sunday morning. So that's where we'll be. It's all on the booking page. If you go past bookthedeal.co.nz through to the booking page, it gives you all of the information there. We've got masses of parking around it as well. It's an easy venue, works really well. Thank you. Justin says, got the ticket, got himself sorted. Fantastic. Excellent, that's done. Thanks for tonight's webinar. Hoping to start very soon. Excellent. Look forward to seeing you at the event. Any advice for a student with a $40,000 student loan? Yeah, I really hope that the $40,000 student loan got you a qualification that gets you a really nice, healthy income, because that seems to be the hardest thing. I personally think that creating equity in real estate with a little bit of knowledge is actually very easy to do. Creating an income to prove that you can borrow enough money to create that equity can be a little harder. So I absolutely hope that you've achieved a really nice cash flow level so that you can afford to get some equity going, because paying off 40 grand out of a property portfolio in the next few years is probably going to be a heck of a lot easier, in my opinion, than paying 40 grand off out of your income. Happy to explain that further at the event. Yeah, tricky one. Anthony says, thank you for the great webinar. Looking forward to joining you at Auckland. Me too. Look forward to seeing you. Taps on the shoulder, say good day. Lisa says, great. We'll come for the coffee as well. Excellent. Hard to find a bad coffee in Wellington. Can't speak for Auckland. Not that I'm one-eyed much. David says, thanks for the webinar. What's your favourite regional centres? Great question. I love Auckland at the moment. I think Auckland's cheap for what it is right now. I love Wellington. I don't mind Christchurch. I think it's gaining its feet again. Nelson, Tauranga and Hamilton are also great because they've got the population base. Other than that, maybe a bit of Dunedin for cash flow, and really I wouldn't go any smaller town New Zealand than that. I know Matt Gilligan agrees with me on this from GRA. I just don't like really, really small towns. They boom and bust too quick. They've got no core value. Yeah, I can explain that more anyway. Great to hear about the content upcoming event and webinars. Very excited. Thanks, Steve. No problem, Kerry. Looking forward to seeing you as well. Booked a $37 webinar deal for 2 people. Looking forward to attend. Great, glad to see you then. Lisa says, having trouble with the website. Here's our email address and phone number. No problem, Lisa. Thanks so much for that. We'll make sure you get your tickets based on tonight's deal. Boom, excellent. And how many tickets are we at? Boom, looking like nearly 40, so we're about halfway there. So if you wanted your ticket, definitely say jump in very quick. Chris says also having a website issue. I'll get my guys to have a look at that. Hopefully it should be working, but yeah, we've got your phone number, Chris. We'll give you a call as well. Hey, thanks, Steve and Don. This is my first Property Tutors webinar. Hey, welcome. Really enjoyed this. Thanks very much. Looking forward to seeing you and seeing you in the next one. Excellent. Thanks for that. Dave says thanks for the response. No problem. Dave also says Rotorua ? Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Rotorua myself. I definitely have clients who have made good money there. I think the trick to Rotorua is good property management. If you've got a good property manager and a good relationship with them, then Rotorua can be a good place for hold deals. There's some fantastic cash flow there. I'm not 100% up to speed with what the capital gain is like in Rotorua, but I wouldn't be terrified of it as a suburb to invest in. I think it's got its own special regional challenges, but hey, I'm not against the place. Not too bad at all. Rick's asked me to repeat the dates. Yeah, no problem. It's at the bottom of your screen, bottom right-hand side. Property Masters event Auckland is on Sunday, the 26th of March, and Wellington is on Sunday, the 7th of May. The event runs, I think we open registration about 8 o'clock in the morning. We start shuffling people in the room about 9 o'clock. We start right on the dot at 9 o'clock and roll into it with some really grouse info. We'll let you run away for a lunch break, get you back into the room, and we're looking to finish about 5:30. We want to finish a bit earlier for our events. Traditionally, they've run a bit longer than that. We've condensed info and rewritten stuff, and, you know, yeah, it's going to be a whole different event to anything you've ever seen before. Matt says, got my tickets to Auckland. Yeehaw! Looking forward to this. Looking forward to having you. This will be fantastic. And Lisa says, thanks. Can't wait to learn more from you. See you at the seminar in Wellington. Fantastic. Looking forward to that. Christopher, actually, yeah, great question. Would this be a good event for a first home buyer? Yes, absolutely. You know, we're going to have, I think it's 9 or 10 at last count, property millionaires standing on stage telling you exactly what it was like for them when they were first home buyers. They're going to walk through their first purchase and what they did with it, how they got their hands on it, how they got the deposit, how they got a bank to say yes to them, and, you know, all these sorts of things. And I think I said it earlier, you know, it's not hard to fake $1 million. It's just hard to make your first million. And often it's just those first steps that really stump some people and really, you know, give them some, you know, some leeway to sort of get their head around it. It's definitely worth coming along as a first home buyer because you've got so many people around you that have been where you are and have worked their way through it. Yeah, really quite incredible. So yeah, definitely come along as a first home buyer. We'll be able to help you out. Alex says, how do you get the tickets after you've paid? Yeah, good question. As soon as you've paid, you're on our list. We're expecting you. We'll have a registration table at both events in front of the main function room, and you just bowl up with your name, and we'll tick you off and take you to your seat. No problem with that. It's just not that hard. Easy. There you go. And we'll send you some reminders and bits and pieces as we go along as well. Awesome. Jonathan says, Palmerston North in Fielding, bigger than Dunedin, bigger population growth, central to Wellington, new highways getting it closer to Wellington, university cities, best balance of yield and growth. Wow, somebody's doing a big job of selling Palmy. Yeehaw. Yeah, okay, you know, I'll give you the whole Palmy thing, but it's not getting the flow-on effect of the monster that is the Auckland property market, which is happening in Hamilton and Tauranga. And it's not your Tauranga Nelson facing the sun retirement belt either, traditionally. You know, I've never personally been a massive fan of Palmerston North. Yeah, I don't want to bag anybody's neighbourhood particularly. I mean, there's going to be great deals in any suburb that you buy, and if you buy really, really well. I've got clients who swear by Wanganui and Hawa and Manaia and Taranaki and Invercargill and Bluff and all sorts of places as well. I think if it's a smaller centre, meaning not one of the 5 or 6 big cities in New Zealand, you've definitely got to live in the place to make good money at it. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Yeah. Moving on. Christopher says, awesome, sounds great, thanks, no problem. Ari says, do you invest yourself in Auckland? Yeah, kind of. I've spent a lot of time in Auckland in the last, I don't know, 12 months probably. I've traded through a few properties in Auckland. I would love to own some more whole properties in Auckland myself as well. I'm certainly looking at a few deals up there at the moment. Most of the population in New Zealand's in Auckland. I struggle to say a bad thing about Auckland. I mean, obviously the Wellington rugby team's better, but as a population base and a place to invest, it's hard to beat Auckland, to be fair. And that's from a completely one-eyed Wellingtonian, Yeah, there you go. Another person asking me about Palmerston North. Is that a good area to invest since I'll be going to the Air Force and will most likely be posted there? Yeah, I mean, certainly if you're living in a place, it's sometimes the best place to invest because it's just, the closest you're going to get, Where is the event held in Wellington? It's in the Intercontinental Hotel, Central Wellington. Thanks, Stephen Don. Great webinar. Just bought my tickets. And asked for 4 names, not 2. Yeah, we'll fix that. Peter, would you prefer Auckland or Wellington if you had one place to start? I'm Wellington-based. Peter, if you're Wellington-based, I'd start investing in Wellington. If you're Auckland-based, I would say start investing in Auckland. You just can't beat local knowledge and being on the ground. I think you've certainly got to do that. Hinton, can you please advise of helping to get deposit for home loan for first home, doing things differently to traditional methods? Yeah, absolutely. There's heaps of ways of doing that. Asset lenders, joint venture partners, long settlement deals, no money down deals, all of which will be mentioned and covered at the event. I really love no money down deals because when I started, guess what? I had no money. Yeah, it's definitely a good way to go. And Braden asks, final question for the night, where can I view tonight's webinar? We will chuck it up on YouTube. You won't have to search it because we'll email you a link to tonight's webinar. It looks like we're getting really, really close to our maximum ticket sales numbers as well. So if you're still sitting there online tonight umming and ahhing, don't. Pay the $37, grab a ticket, come along, see if we're full of it or not. We're not. And if you don't like it, hey, we'll give you your money back. Real easy as that. So look, stoked to have you guys come with us along on this little ride tonight. Thanks so much for joining us, and thanks again to my co-presenter and guest this evening, Mr. Don Ha, who's going to be looking forward to seeing you guys at the event. That's us, guys. If you have any other questions, email us, chuck it into the questions portion of the webinar software, or ask us on Facebook. And really looking forward to seeing you guys live at the event. Hey, stoked. Thanks very much. And we'll see you again next time. Good night.